Hello and welcome to this demonstration of uFSM. In this video I will show you how to create a basic state machine. Alright, let's begin. First of all, you need to install StarUML, which is currently the only tool I've tested this library with. Alright, new diagram, and simply right click on the model here, add diagram, and select state chart diagram, like so. Let's do a simple toggling LED. So let's say we have a state here, which we will call LED on. We add a second state, which is LED off. In this example, we can add an entry activity. This will actually call a method for enabling the LED. Let's call it LED on. We can also add an exit activity called LED off. This means whenever we enter this state LED on, the function LED underscore on will be called. Whenever we leave this state, function LED off will be called. Alright, let's add some transitions. And let's trigger this with an event, just call it EV. Also adjust this transition, oops, like so. And then we can add another transition from the on state, triggered by the same event, EV. Oops. And finally we need to add an initial state, which is used by the state machine library to understand where it should start. So let's add that to the off state, like so. This means when the state machine initializes, it will enter into the off state. And from that point, it will stay in the off state until it receives event EV, and then it will transition into the LED on state. And when you're in the LED on state, you can transition back to the off state by issuing another EV event. Alright, that's a basic state machine. The second step is to export this to XMI. To do this, you need to install the XMI plugin. Simply click this icon here, and you find the XMI plugin and install it. When you've done that, you can go under File, Export, and select XMI Export. Alright, let's just call this uFSM demo FSM, like so. Good. Okay, so now we have our generated XMI file called uFSM demo FSM. This is basically just, well, that wasn't very readable, but it's an XML file containing all of the descriptions for this simple state machine. And the next step is to convert this into something that the uFSM library can understand. And to do that, you use the uFSM import tool, which is quite easy to use. Simply put the first argument is the input file, in this case uFSM demo FSM. And let's call the output name just the same, uFSM demo FSM. That's it. And then we can see that it generated two files, one C file and one header file. These files contain more or less only linked lists with structs describing the same thing as the XMI file does, but compatible with the uFSM library. There are also some other options for uFSM import. You can add a prefix, output prefix, if you want to store the generated files in a particular folder. there's also an option to strip some data that is not strictly needed for a real application. For example, all of these states contains names and some string values that are useful for debugging and demonstration purposes, but they're not really necessary for a real application. All right, the next step would be to create a C file, our main file. So let's do that. And start with including the uFSM library, like so. Oops. Save this in the examples folder. And let's add a main routine. We also need to include the generated state machine. So let's include uFSM demo uFSM.h, like so. Okay, let's see what happens if we try to compile this. Let's add this one. Okay, can't find this, so we need to include this. And in this case, since I'm inside the uFSM library structure, I will just add this like so. So the next error. These are the methods we define in the state machine. So we need to implement these. These are simply done like this: LED on, no return value and no argument. And let's add the second one, LED off, like so. Give it another go. Yay, it compiles. So this won't do really anything yet, so because we need to initialize the state machine. And to do this, let's have a quick look in the uFSM demo uFSM header file. As you can see here, the header file contains some definitions, an enumeration of events that we have, and in this case we only have one event called EV. There's also a function that you need to call to get a reference to the, or a pointer to the state machine. We will do that in our main file here. So and then we call the get state machine 1. Alright, and now we should initialize the machine by calling uFSM init machine, passing the m pointer as an argument, and this will initialize the machine. Okay, let's add just some prints in these on-off functions. Like so. Let's compile it again and see what happens. Oops. Right, we also need to add the actual library files. This is a bit tedious to do like this, but I will show you another example later. Right, nothing happens, and that's to be expected. At this point it will initialize the machine, it will enter into the LED off state, and then the program will simply stop. So let's send some events. To do this you can use the uFSM process, and this takes two arguments. One would be the pointer to the machine, and then the second one the actual event you want to send. So sending one event, we should transition from LED off to LED on state. and yay, the LED is on. And now we can send a few more of these events, just toggling the LED on and off. And there you have it, first simple state machine. Thank you for watching.